Welcome to Deep Dive Patristics, where two AI personalities tackle deep Orthodox Christian topics with clarity and precision. Let's dive in.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're taking a deep dive into prayer, specifically through the writings of Evagrios the Solitary.
Evagrios the Solitary.
Right. And we've got this collection of 153 short texts from him on the topic.
153.
Yeah, they're like these amazing little nuggets of wisdom about prayer and early Christian spirituality, kind of like, ancient tweets or something.
Oh, I like that.
And to help us unpack all this and see how it connects to our lives today, we've got our expert here.
It's great to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, these texts, they may be short, but wow, are they packed with deep insights.
I'm ready to dive in. So, right off the bat, the number 153, why that number? Well, Evagrios connects it to these shapes, squares, triangles, and spheres. What's the deal with that?
It's really fascinating. Each shape represents something different about the spiritual journey. So take the square with its four sides. Evagrios uses that to symbolize the four cardinal virtues.
Okay, so the square is like the foundation.
Yeah, you could say that. Prudence, justice, fortitude, and temperance, kind of the building blocks of a strong spiritual life.
Got it. And what about the triangle?
Well, the triangle, of course, points upwards, right? So it represents the soul ascending towards God.
Makes sense.
And then with its 3 points, it also symbolizes the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So right away, Evagrios is weaving together these core Christian ideas with prayer.
And the sphere, that one's a bit more mysterious to me.
Yeah, the sphere is all about the eternal, the unchanging nature of God. It's in contrast to like the ever-changing cyclical nature of time, and the material world. So it's a reminder that prayer connects us to something bigger than just our earthly existence.
I love that. Using these simple shapes to express such profound truths, it makes you wonder what other hidden meanings we miss every day.
Oh, absolutely. And Evagrios, he's all about this attention to detail, this searching for deeper meaning. And that's key to his approach to prayer. He sees it as a journey of purification and ascent. So it's about shedding worldly attachments and rising above distractions to connect with the divine.
So it's not just, reciting words or going through the motions?
Well, not at all.
It's an inner transformation, like stripping away what's superficial so you can connect with something deeper.
Exactly. He compares it to climbing a mountain. As you ascend, you're leaving behind the weight of all your worries, passions, distractions. And as you do that, you get a clearer perspective, a closer connection to the divine.
That image really speaks to me. Like all the baggage we carry around, worries, anxieties, endless to-do lists, all that stuff clouds your mind and makes it hard to focus on prayer. It's like you need to consciously set that stuff aside to make space for something more meaningful.
You've got it. Evagrios really emphasizes being intentional about creating that space, that inner stillness where you can actually encounter God. And he's honest. It's not easy.
He talks a lot about distractions, right? Especially those pesky demons. It's almost like a spiritual battleground.
He definitely doesn't shy away from that darker side of the spiritual journey. He describes demons as tempters, constantly trying to pull us away from prayer, using all kinds of tricks and schemes. He even compares them to wild beasts attacking the body.
Whoa, okay. That's a pretty intense image. Are those demons meant to be taken literally? Or are they more symbolic of something else?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's been debated for centuries. Some people interpret them literally, as like evil spiritual beings, but others see them as representations of our own negative thoughts, our inner struggles.
So whether you're battling actual demons or your own inner turmoil, the point is clear. The path of prayer is not a walk in the park. You need vigilance and discipline.
And courage.
Yeah, you got to be willing to face whatever forces try to pull you away from the divine.
Exactly. And that's where Evagrios' idea of inner prayer is crucial. He separates the outward forms of prayer, which can become distractions in themselves, from the true inner prayer of the heart. It's about cultivating this deep, silent communion with God.
He even warns against chasing visions or like extraordinary experiences.
Yes. He cautions against seeking those outward signs or looking for spiritual thrills. True prayer is way deeper than that. It goes beyond what we can see and feel.
So it's more about letting go of needing to see or feel something tangible and instead focusing on that inner connection.
Exactly, that quiet conversation with the divine. And that's where qualities like humility and attentiveness become so important. Remember that famous line from Evagrios? Blessed is the monk who regards himself as the offscouring of all things.
Whoa, that's powerful stuff. It seems so countercultural, especially today when we're constantly told to focus on self-esteem and self-promotion. What do you think he means by this radical humility?
It's about recognizing our place, in the grand scheme of things. Humility for Evagrios isn't about putting yourself down or feeling worthless. It's about letting go of your ego's need to be the center of attention, to be right, to be in control. It's surrendering to something bigger than yourself, acknowledging that you're just a small part of a vast, mysterious universe.
That makes sense. Like creating space within yourself for the divine to enter. You're not pretending to have all the answers. You're open to learning and growing.
Exactly.
And this humility naturally leads to attentiveness.
Right. Right. When you let go of all that ego chatter, you become more present, more aware of the world around you, and more open to those subtle movements of the spirit.
So it all comes back to this idea of prayer as a journey of purification. Not just purifying your actions, but also your thoughts, your motivations, your whole being.
That's a great way to put it. It's about refining your inner landscape, creating a space where the divine can actually dwell.
As we've been talking, I've been jotting down some quotes that have really stuck with me. I'm curious, do you have any favorite passages from Evagrios that have really shaped your understanding of prayer?
Oh, absolutely. Narrowing it down is tough, but there are definitely some gems that have been influential for me.
Let's hear them. I'm all ears.
Okay, so my first one is, if you are a theologian, you will pray truly. And if you pray truly, you are a theologian.
Ooh, I love that one. It really highlights that connection between knowledge and practice. It's not enough to just know about God in your head. You have to live it out through prayer.
Exactly. True understanding comes from experience, from that intimate communion with the divine. And another one that's always stuck with me is this. Prayer is the ascent of the intellect to God.
Yeah, it's beautiful, like reaching for the stars.
Yeah.
That upward movement, striving to connect with something higher.
Exactly. But, Evagrios reminds us it's not always easy. There are obstacles, those internal and external battles. He talks about controlling your passions, overcoming distractions, and being vigilant against those demons.
Oh yeah, speaking of demons, he doesn't hold back on those gritty details, does he? Makes it sound like a spiritual thriller sometimes.
Right, but I think those vivid descriptions are there for a reason. It's to highlight how intense that spiritual struggle can be, reminding us that prayer takes courage and perseverance.
Like he's saying, hey, it's going to be tough, but don't give up. And he does give some pretty practical advice for dealing with all that, right?
Absolutely. He's big on being mindful of your thoughts, guarding your heart against negativity, and cultivating humility and attentiveness. He even suggests things like focusing on your breath or repeating a short prayer to deal with distractions.
It's amazing how those ancient practices are still so relevant today. I mean, we might not be fighting demons in the desert, but we have our own modern distractions, social media, that 24/7 news cycle, the pressure to be productive all the time.
Exactly. The forms change, but the underlying principles, they're still the same. It's about creating that inner stillness, that focused attention, so you can connect with the divine, even amidst all the chaos.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges. What about the rewards? What does Evagrios say about the good stuff that comes from a life of prayer?
Well, he describes it as this profound transformation that happens both inside and out. You experience deep peace, joy, love, and you gain spiritual knowledge, wisdom, discernment.
So prayer opens up a whole new dimension of reality, like a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about benefiting ourselves. Evagrios emphasizes praying for others, for the well-being of all beings. He sees it as a way to spread compassion and love, like you're contributing to healing the world.
It's like that ripple effect, right? The good vibes from prayer, they radiate outwards and touch everyone around you.
Oh.
Okay, back to those favorite quotes. What else you got?
This one's a bit longer, but it really sums up what Evagrios is all about. When your intellect, in its great longing for God, gradually withdraws from the flesh and turns away from all thoughts that have their source in your sense perception, memory, or soul-body temperament, and when it becomes full of reverence and joy, then you may conclude that you are close to the frontiers of prayer.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's like a roadmap for that inner journey towards God. It starts with that longing, that desire to connect. Then you gradually let go of worldly attachments, turn inward, quiet your mind. And when you reach that place of reverence and joy, you know you're on the right track.
Exactly. It's a process. It takes time, effort, but it's so worth it.
Okay, hit me with your next favorite.
Okay. This one emphasizes approaching prayer with the right mindset. Do not shape within yourself any image of the deity, And do not let your intellect be stamped with the impress of any form, but approach the immaterial in an immaterial manner, and then you will understand.
So we can't try to box in God with our limited human perceptions. You have to approach that mystery with an open mind and humility.
Absolutely. Letting go of our preconceptions and surrendering to the unknown.
I'm sensing a theme here. Letting go, surrender, stripping away those layers. It seems like that's central to Evagrios' understanding of prayer. All right, what's your final favorite?
Short and sweet. If when praying no other joy can attract you, then truly you have found prayer.
Wow, that's deep. True prayer is an all-consuming experience. All other desires, they just fade away compared to the joy of being with God.
Yes, it's about finding that complete fulfillment where your heart is totally satisfied.
Those are some amazing quotes. Thanks for sharing. Now, I'd love to share some of the passages that have really resonated with me. Ready for it?
Hit me. Always love to hear different perspectives on these texts.
Okay, so this one really stood out to me because it highlights God's boundless compassion. The Holy Spirit, out of compassion for our weakness, comes to us even when we are impure. And if only he finds our intellect truly praying to him, he enters it and puts to flight the whole array of thoughts and ideas circling within it, and he arouses it to a longing for spiritual prayer.
Beautiful. You don't have to be perfect to come to God. Even when we're messy and broken, the Holy Spirit is there ready to meet us and guide us.
It's real comfort, right? Like sometimes I feel like I'm not good enough to pray, like I need to get my act together first. But Evagrios is saying that God meets us right where we are and helps us move towards wholeness.
Exactly. A message of hope and encouragement.
Okay, here's another one I love. Pray gently and calmly. Sing with understanding and rhythm. Then you will soar like a young eagle high in the heavens.
I love the imagery there. Prayer doesn't have to be all serious and rigid. It can be expressive, creative, even playful.
Yeah. It's about finding that flow that allows us to break free and soar towards the divine.
It reminds me of music, how it can uplift us and connect us to something bigger.
This one speaks to the importance of focus. Do not let your eyes be distracted during prayer, but detach yourself from concern with body and soul and give all your attention to the intellect.
Mindfulness. Being present in the moment, quieting those thoughts and focusing on the divine.
Not easy in today's world, right?
Yeah,
But it's worth it.
absolutely. It's in those moments of focused attention that we really experience the power of prayer.
All right, time for a reality check. See whether you stand truly before God in your prayer or are overcome by the desire for human praise, using prolonged prayer as a disguise.
Oof, that one hits home. It's easy to get caught up in wanting to look good, right? But true prayer comes from the heart. It's about honesty and sincerity.
Exactly. And for my last one, I chose this quote about our interconnectedness. A monk is one who regards himself as linked with every man through always seeing himself in each.
Such a beautiful expression of love and compassion. It's not a solitary journey. We're all connected.
Yeah. We need to expand our circle of compassion and embrace all of humanity. It's amazing how much Evagrios' words from like centuries ago still resonate today. We talked about distractions, finding stillness that struggle with ego. It's all super relevant to our lives now.
Totally. You know, there's this one quote that really stands out to me in that sense. So long as you give attention to the beauty of the body, and your intellect delights in the outside of the tabernacle, you have not yet perceived the realm of prayer and are still far from treading its blessed path.
Wow, yeah. The outside of the tabernacle. It's
Yeah.
like we can get so caught up in the superficial stuff, the external things, that we miss what's truly important on the inside, like standing at the doorway but never actually stepping in.
Exactly. And today it's even harder, right? With all the emphasis on appearances and material possessions and social media, it's so tempting to just stay on the outside focused on that beauty of the body instead of the beauty of the soul.
For sure. It's a real challenge. But Evagrios gives us a way forward, right? A path to that inner sanctuary where we can connect with God. And it's not about isolating ourselves from the world either. It's about changing how we relate to it.
Exactly. It's not about rejecting the world or denying its beauty. It's about shifting our focus, recognizing that true fulfillment, it doesn't come from those external things. It comes from that inner connection with God.
And this brings me to another quote that really got me thinking. Pray first for the purification of the passions. Secondly, for deliverance from ignorance and forgetfulness. And thirdly, for deliverance from all temptation, trial, and dereliction.
What is it about that one that speaks to you?
It's like a 3-step plan for spiritual growth. First, you purify the passions, like letting go of all those desires that cloud our judgment and pull us away from what matters.
Yeah, Evagrios sees those passions as obstacles to prayer because they keep us focused on worldly things, We can't fully turn towards God.
Right. Then the second step is deliverance from ignorance and forgetfulness. It's so easy to lose sight of the big picture, right? We get caught up in the day-to-day and forget about our spiritual purpose.
It's a call to be mindful, to stay connected to that awareness of God's presence in our lives, and to remember what we've learned, not let it fade away.
And finally, deliverance from temptation, trial, and dereliction. Recognizing that it's not always going to be easy. There will be tough times, moments when we feel lost and alone.
Absolutely. But even in those dark moments, God is with us, offering strength and guidance.
It's a message of hope, encouragement to keep going, to trust the process even when it's hard. Okay, one more quote that I just have to share. It kind of ties everything together. If you wish to pray as you should, deny yourself all the time, and when any kind of affliction troubles you, meditate on prayer.
Powerful. It's about self-denial, putting aside our own ego and desires so we can align with God's will.
And it connects that directly to prayer, right? When we face difficulties, when we're overwhelmed or lost, we should turn to prayer, seek comfort and guidance from God.
It's a reminder that prayer isn't just something you do when things are good or when you need something specific. It's a constant source of strength, something to turn to in any situation.
It really strikes me how timeless Evagrios' teachings are, just as relevant today as they were centuries ago. Maybe even more so with all the distractions and complexities of modern life.
Couldn't agree more. His wisdom is timeless. It can help us face the challenges of today and find our way to peace and joy.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the wisdom of Evagrios the Solitary, I encourage you to take some time to reflect on what we've discussed. Which quotes resonated with you? What insights will you carry forward?
Remember, prayer is a journey. Be patient with yourself. Keep seeking, keep exploring, and let Evagrios' teachings guide you on your own unique path.
Until next time, keep diving deep.